I remember just sobbing into my orange chicken, our friend Karabai told us. I kept thinking, I can't do this. A few days before, Karabai had left Venezuela with her dad to fly to the United States and start her freshman year at Penn State. But as she stood in line to get her college ID, she started to panic. Her dad gently pulled her out of the line and walked her to a nearby Panda Express. "You don't have to do this," Karabai's dad said when they were sitting down. "You can come home with me this afternoon. I want you to know that whatever you choose, you will be fine." As Karabai calmed down, her dad asked if she wanted to get back in line, but the thought made it hard for her to breathe again. Instead, Karabai and her dad decided to walk around the campus. "Let's look into some classrooms," her dad suggested, "so you can picture what it might be like to go here." They peeked into the library and then a large lecture hall. "That was also overwhelming to me at first," Karabai recalled. Up until that point, she had gone to a small school with the same 20 girls since 3rd grade. She told us, "But seeing where I might sit every day did start to make me feel a bit better." Slowly, Karabai's apprehensions started to subside. "When I met my roommates," she told us, "they were really nice. I started to get a sense of, oh, I could see myself here. I could see myself doing this." A few days later, Karabai got back in line to get her college ID, and this time she was filled with excitement. "We don't resist change," organizational psychologist Dr. Laura Gallagher told us. "We resist loss." By converting your ambient anxiety into more specific fears, you can pinpoint exactly what you're afraid of losing and how you might be able to avoid some of those circumstances. Often you'll find that you're scared of losing a part of your identity or of experiencing uncomfortable emotions in the future. To gently surface the stories driving your sky-high heart rate, ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What do I imagine could happen? How exactly would each of those scenarios look and feel? If you're starting a new role, you might write something like, "The responsibilities I'm taking on are outside my past experience. I might not know what I'm doing, or I might look foolish. I'm most afraid that I'll fail and be fired." If you're moving to a different city, your answers might be, "I'm worried I'll feel less at home. I'm scared I won't make new friends. In those scenarios, I'd be very lonely, and I might worry that I made the wrong choice by moving. I'm terrified I'll regret my decision." "I still get anxious when I have to make a big decision," Karabai told us. "But that campus walk taught me to think about what could happen in the future and visualize myself in all those scenarios." Years later, when Karabai was deciding where to go to grad school, she tried to paint a vivid picture of each option. One of the schools was in Chicago, but she couldn't afford to visit, so she ambled about the school's neighborhood using Google's Street View, scrolled through top 10 things to do in Chicago listicles, and took a virtual tour of the campus. And when she was considering whether to take a job in San Francisco and had a bit more money, Karabai flew out to the city for a week. She said, "I literally took the train to where I would work and grabbed a triple iced latte at a nearby coffee shop. I tried to give myself a very concrete idea of what that first day would look like." While we were conducting interviews for this book, a lot of people told us that they find it useful to imagine the worst-case scenario. If that works for you, great. But if you're very prone to anxiety, be careful not to start catastrophizing. Beware of that determined slide to the worst possible, barely imaginable scenario. Buddhist teacher Sharon Salzberg cautions. It's useful to think through a high-probability worst-case scenario. It's less helpful to spend hours obsessing over a truly terrible outcome that most likely won't happen. To make sure you're not creating even more anxiety for yourself, we encourage you to also ask, is there evidence for my fear, or am I making assumptions? What is the probability that my worst case materializes? What's the best case scenario? What's most likely to happen? Of course, sometimes a scarier scenario isn't outside the realm of reality, which brings us to the withins and the beyonds.